What is going on, YouTube? It's Tyler from Mission VR, where it's my mission to bring you guys some kind of crappy content. No, just kidding. I got good content today. We are going to be talking about every Quest game that we know about that is coming out here over the holiday season that currently has a 2022 release date. Most of these games, if they have no gameplay or any trailer of this sort yet, probably will be delayed, but I would guess a good chunk of these games are going to be coming out hopefully in the next 2 months or so. But we're going to be ranking these games on whether or not I'm excited for them or I think they're going to be crap or have zero impact on the VR game industry at all. So we're going to be doing that in today's video, guys. Make sure you drop a like on this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm bringing a ton of VR content. I got this same video only for PC VR because there's different games coming out for PC VR. I'm going to be doing that as well. So make sure you guys do stay tuned for that, as well as this next couple months. We got a lot of updating on top 10 lists, all kinds of stuff, big things happening in VR. So do drop a like, subscribe. Let's go ahead and hop on into our first category, which is the games I really don't care about at all. Okay, so first up on the games I don't care about in the slightest, we have Pathcraft, which is a VR puzzle game where you're kind of crafting a path for this character to walk along to solve puzzles. I really don't care, honestly. This game to me just, I'm not saying it, again, no hard feelings toward the developers. You're developing a game, maybe that's what you're passionate about, but like me, the type of gamer I am, I wouldn't play this game if you paid me to play it, I might play it. But I wouldn't play it outside of that. So it's not a game I'm excited about. I really don't think it's gonna have any impact at all on the VR industry whatsoever. Okay, next up on the list here for games I don't really care about. This one's gonna be kind of a shocker, but this is Among Us VR. Here's why I don't care about Among Us in VR. First of all, Among Us was a trend that rocked the whole gaming world 2 years ago. And then it died, and then it never came back, and nobody cares about it. It's not like Fortnite. It's not like some of these other things that have long-lasting impacts. Like it's gone. Like I don't know. I don't see anybody talking about Among Us. I think this game would be fun in VR provided you had a player base. I'm not sure there's going to be a player base in this game. I'm not sure it's going to be fun in VR. That remains to be seen. Ultimately, I'm not excited about this one. Next up, We Are One. Now this game is an interesting concept, not gonna lie to you. I think it's an interesting concept. I think it could actually be a fun game. I'm not saying it's not gonna be a fun game. It's just not my type of game. So I'm really not that excited about it. Basically, you're gonna be creating time loops of yourself and defeating waves of enemies. You know, so in one station, if you are shooting something and then throwing a gun to yourself in the next station, you could be catching the gun, shooting 2 more things, and then doing something else. And then ultimately you create a loop of yourself to beat the puzzle, if you will. It's a good experience, or sorry, a cool concept, I should say, but it's just not really something I'm excited about. Next up, What the Bat. Now this is the sequel to What the Golf, which is a wacky bat hitting things game. Honestly, like I don't know. I can't. Who spends money on this? Realistically, I mean, I'm looking at you guys right now.
Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
Why? What is fun? I mean, okay, it's goofy, sure, but you just spent money on something you played for probably 2 minutes. Like realistically, I would pick this game up and I'd play it for about 3 seconds and be like, well, that's it. I'm going to play something else, something more fun. Please comment in the comment section if I'm wrong, but like for me, I'm not even gonna waste my time on it anymore. All right, moving on here to our 2 ranking, which is games that I'm just not quite sure how I feel about yet. It's kind of depend on whether the game has enough content in it, you know, what the graphics are like, what the gameplay is like, you know, what the fun factor's like. These are kind of up in the air titles that I'm just not sure how I feel about yet. So we're going to start off with Broken Edge. Now, in concept, Broken Edge sounds like a really fun game. You're going to be dueling 1v1 sword fighting, very similar to Iron Lights, which came out, was a fun game. I didn't play a ton of it. It's just not something I'm just not really super into 1v1 sword fighting like that. It's just, I like other things. But that's personal preference. Doesn't mean it wasn't a good game. It had its game. This game's art style, it's not something that appeals to me, but again, in VR, a lot of that stuff goes away. Art style doesn't really matter. It's more so the smoothness of the experience. So I don't know, Broken Edge, one of those ones that we're gonna have to remain and wait to be seen. Final Fury. Now, this game I am sort of interested in. There really hasn't been a VR fighting game with this that looks like this or ever been attempted before. So this game could go one of two ways. It could be a really insanely fun experience that ultimately they probably should turn into like a MOBA, like a mobile online battle simulator arena or mobile battle arena. I don't know. I have no idea how the game's going to play. It looks fun. It looks like it has some merits to it, but again, it could be really janky and really, not that fun as well. It could be really slow paced. So it's kind of one of those why it's here. I just don't, the developer, we don't know. We don't know what it's going to be yet. So let's wait and see. Propagation Paradise Hotel. Now, this game would have been in my most excited category had they not decided to make it a single player game and eliminate the co-op. Now, co-op horror games in VR are incredibly fun because VR is a much different playing a horror game than playing on a screen. Playing on a screen, yeah, single player, yeah, okay, you get your thrills, you get the adrenaline pumping a little bit. When you play a single player VR game, it's a horror game, it can really get the blood flowing a little bit. And, for that reason, yeah, sure, that's great. And I'm not saying that this game's not going to be good. It's probably going to be great. And if you love single player horror game experiences, hats off to you because you have a heart of steel. And I've done a couple of them and it's just, it's just too much for me sometimes. I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy it, especially during Halloween season right now, but I can't do it all the time. So this game not having co-op is kind of why it's in my category. We'll have to remain to see. Maybe I'll review it. Maybe I won't, depending on what you guys want. Please do let me know in the comment section as we get closer to a release date on that. Next up, we have Colossal Cave. I'm going to be just frank with you guys. I don't know a ton about this game. The graphics from the trailer, it looks okay. It's not something that I am, super, super excited for. It's not something that I would drop everything and just get ready to go. It's not saying that I won't play it. I just honestly don't know a lot about this game. And I guess it is a remake of an old game that had a big time player base or, was really favorable and all that stuff. So it's kind of one of those games that I'm just going to follow and we'll see how it goes. Next up, we have Exorcist Legion SIN. Now, this is a VR horror game that is the sequel to the first Exorcist game, which was very terrifying. This game's going to have co-op in it, which I think could make this a very, very exciting title. The only reason I have it in this, I'm not sure how I feel about it yet list, is because really haven't seen a ton about it. And, how the co-op is done and whether there's replay value or not is kind of going to determine this game. I mean, I know one thing like Phasmophobia is just one of the most fun games because there is so much replay value to it. So it's going to be really dependent on, what the replay value is like. If it's just a co-op story and you play through one time and you're done, I think that's kind of going to be like maybe a good experience, but that's it. You're done with it. But if it's one of those games that has a lot of replay value built for VR, I think it could go somewhere. Okay, next up, we have T for God. Now, this game is actually really good. This is a solid game. The only reason I have it in the two categories because it's just not something that I can see myself putting a ton of time into. It's a really cool experience, and if you have a nice big play space, you're playing on the Quest, this game is actually... It's one of those games that I think you should experience. It's a fun game. You will put a couple hours into this game, no doubt about it. There's some cool exploration mechanics in the game. You don't have to move around. You're actually gonna be moving in your play space and it maps out the play space. It's a really unique style of game and it is fun. It's just not something that, I've already played it. I know what it looks like, feels like, plays like. I'm excited for the Quest version. I think it'll be smoother, but at the end of the day, it's not really a game that I could sit here and say, I can't wait to get my hands on again, just because it is what it is. Okay, next up, we have Killer Frequency here. This is a game that I think could go either way as well. This one is basically going to be a first-person horror adventure. You're going to be running a late-night radio host, and callers are going to be calling in as they're being stalked by a serial killer, and it's going to be your job to not only save lives, but solve the puzzles, and you're going to be kind of doing so while listening to, 80s themed music. This is like an 80s themed horror game. I think this game will be okay. It's not something that I'm like gonna go and spend money on right away. For me, it's just not my type of game. If it's your type of game or you're really craving a horror experience, which again, these games, the release date's 2022. We're at the end of October. Games like this really should come out prior to Halloween, because that's when people would really pick this game up, because they want, you know, a couple hours of a good story and maybe a little bit of a scare, kind of like a horror movie, right? Well, if it comes out after Halloween, I don't foresee this one really making an impact at all. Maybe it's one you pick up next year, you put on your list, see if it goes on sale. I don't know. This is one of those ones that's kind of could go either way for me. All right, next up we have the Chewllers VR. Now, this game, I have to say, the art style isn't exactly what I would prefer, but the idea of a kind of a co-op tower defense where you're in first person defending your base, I think it could have a fun gameplay loop. I don't know if this game's gonna go the distance though and have any type of real player base. Just because of the art style, and it just seems kind of gimmicky almost. But I could be 100% wrong about this game, and that's why it's in my category, because it does look fun, and I think if you had a group of friends to sit here and defend your castle with, it could be fun. But I just think the scale of the game is going to hold it back. The graphics of the game is going to hold it back, and for that reason, that's why it's kind of in my category. And finally, for our last game that we're kind of not sure about on this list, we have the Peaky Blinders game that has been announced. Supposedly, this game is coming out in 2022. We have zero details on anything about it. Obviously, it's a big franchise that is bringing a VR game out. Whether this is a short little 2-hour, you know, story experience or this is a full-fledged out game, honestly, we have no idea. So I can't say I'm not excited for it, but at the same time, I can't say I am excited for it because we don't know. So there's that. Okay, so moving on to the games that I am definitely really excited about and probably will try to get a review out for, and we're going to start off with Espire 2. Now, Espire 1 was a pretty solid title, got a little bit of backlash on it, kind of unfair. I thought I enjoyed the title pretty thoroughly. It was an enjoyable 4 to 6 hour experience. I can't remember how long it took me to play through that game, but I definitely enjoyed some of the aspects of it. And it looks like Espire 2's building on everything that they had in the game 1, and they're going to fix a lot of the stuff that maybe was complained about and give us, you know, more parts of the story. Overall, I can't say this is going to be like a 10 out of 10 game. And the Espire franchise, I think, is just, it's going to be a fun action spy type adventure that, you know, is going to last for 6 or 7 hours or so, and it'll have some good gameplay loops to it. This is one of those ones that I think will be probably worth picking up, but only expect to play it once. Next up, we have Iron Man VR. Obviously, this game is a Marvel Iron Man VR game. We know about the game because it's been out on PSVR for a while, so it'll be interesting to see how this one adapts over to the Quest, which I have not played it yet. I'm excited. I definitely want to get my hands on this one and give it a shot. But overall, the game looks pretty good. Probably a single-player, you know, story experience type of game. Again, I really don't know anything about the Iron Man VR games, you know, or the VR game that came out for PSVR because I just haven't played PSVR really, so don't know much about it, but I am excited about it. I think it's going to be a fun experience. The controls, graphics, they all look pretty good, so we'll see how that goes. Gambit. Well, here's a game that I am really excited about. So Gambit was developed by the same people that developed Zero Caliber, so they do have some experience in the shooter realm, which is definitely exciting. And this game is kind of going to be like a payday, so they say, where you're going to be kind of robbing things and, you know, working with a team to shoot your way out of a out of a money heist situation, I guess. I don't know. I'm excited for Gambit. Supposedly it's coming out in 2022. We don't have any hard date yet. But, you know, so far the gameplay looks really good, and it's coming from a developer that we know has developed some good VR games before. So definitely looking forward to this one. This one could go the distance if it's done right. The multiplayer support's there with the Quest and the PC. You know, if there's enough players on and they create a gameplay loop that's worth continuing to come back with a little bit of grind and a little bit of unlocking, I think this game could be something. So I'm definitely excited about Gambit. So next up, we have a game I was really surprised to see coming to Quest, and it's awesome that it is, and that is Everslaught Invasion. Now, seems like this is a Quest-only version of Everslaught, which was a PC VR game that I did do a review on last year, or yeah, I think it was last year, or maybe it was earlier this year, I can't remember. But Everslaught was a really solid, fast-paced game. I really enjoyed the game a lot, actually. It's a game that I keep saying I gotta hop back into at some point. So to see that it's coming to the Quest is super awesome, and maybe, you know, through some miracle, they'll merge the two games together, create some sort of multiplayer horde mode, and then the game will really go the distance with some good stuff and good fun. So definitely excited for Everslaught Invasion. Definitely put that one on your list. Next up, on the list of games I'm really excited about, that is Hellsweeper. Now, Hellsweeper is a game I've had on my list for quite a while now, basically since it was announced. Hellsweeper is made from the same people that made Sorrento, which was a fantastic VR game. Actually, one of the first VR games that really, I thought, set itself aside for me way back whenever I first started playing VR, with the Oculus CV1 and the touch controllers. I got Sorrento and I was like, this game is epic. The slow motion, you know, I loved the cyber blade that I had, and you know, with the fan ladies would come flying in the air and I would jump up in slow-mo right as I was slicing through them. It felt so good. The game felt so clean. So it's going to be exciting to see what a 2022 release of, you know, the same type of technology puts you with a new IP. The game looks really smooth. It looks fun. I'm really excited to get my hands on Hellsweeper. Okay, next up we got Ghostbusters VR. Now, we don't know really anything about this game, have not seen any gameplay of it. So this one could easily fall into the category, or the number 2 category is what I called it, as games remains to be seen. But if they went about it in creating a fully fledged out VR experience that has the same type of gameplay loop as Phasmophobia, with better graphics, built from the ground up for VR with the Ghostbusters IP attached to it, this game is absolutely going to make waves in the VR industry. But we don't really know. I put it as I'm excited about it because I think that if they took any advice from the massive success that is Phasmophobia, they would build the same game only with more VR and Ghostbusters action, and, you know, make it better because they're using the IP, so they have way more money than the developers from Phasmophobia did. Yeah, that's why I'm excited about this game. So will remain to be seen. We will see. So next up on games I'm excited for, this is Ziggys Cosmic Adventure. Now, actually, this is not really typically my style of game, but I have to say that the graphics, the smoothness, and the overall story of this game has me slightly intrigued. I think this could be one of those games where, you know, it's winter outside, it's cold, you're bored, you're looking for an experience you haven't had before, and here you go. You hop on in, you're a cosmic bounty hunter that steals this game's version of Baby Yoda, and the Empire is trying to get it back, and they're on your tail, and you have to solve puzzles and play in combat, and also manage your ship, which is going to entail you spinning around in your chair and, you know, doing different things and putting things away and all this good stuff. I think this game could have a fun gameplay loop. I don't think it's one that's going to have any replay value to it, but it might be one of those story experiences where you play it one time and you really enjoy your playthrough of it. So definitely excited for Ziggys Cosmic Adventures. Next up, we have Compound. Now, Compound is a roguelike shooter that has that original Doom style of art. This will work well in VR. It actually already does. It's a procedurally generated dungeon, if you will, with a bunch of different weapons and all that good stuff that's going to come with a roguelike shooter like this. This game's probably going to be a lot of fun, to be honest. It's probably going to have a really solid gameplay loop, and it's definitely one I'm probably going to want to get my hands on for a review because this is definitely my style of game. Next up, we have Helisquad Covert Ops. Now, this is coming from the developers that did World War I Warplanes and the Warplanes over the Pacific. I didn't actually play that one. I probably should have picked that one up because the World War I Warplanes that I did a review on was a really fun, solid title. Was really impressed. Now, I'm definitely excited to get a little bit more modern here and sit in the cockpit of a AH-64 Apache helicopter as I am blasting enemies away. So, really excited for this game, not gonna lie. I think this is going to be fun. Have not seen any gameplay for it yet. Can't wait. Supposedly it's coming out in 2022. Really can't wait for them to drop a gameplay trailer for this one. Going to be a good one. And finally, the last game that I have on this list that's coming out for the Quest, supposedly this year, that I am definitely excited about. And how could you not be excited about? The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution. Look, we all know what this is. It's Chapter 2, Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. New story, new area. Lots of new improved gameplay mechanics. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Game 1 was so good. Obviously, this game's going to be good. We know it is. I'm just excited to see how far they can push this game. That's really where I'm at with this game. Going to be pretty awesome, but probably popping a review out for this one. Can't wait for it. Well, guys, that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys found a game that is coming out that you are excited about, or maybe, you know, one of the games I'm not excited about, you are excited about, and in that case, that sucks. No, not really. Anyways, hopefully you guys did find it. Please do drop a like, subscribe. This coming month, I've got all kinds of videos coming out with top 10 Quest games that you can get up until this year. Got to update the list because the list is different from last year's. I'm also going to be doing a top 3 games in every genre video here coming up. So make sure you guys do drop a like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.